Hi everyone, thanks for checking out another Eagle Eye Productions video. This is the continuation of the video that I made earlier about the Skyline. We're gonna review some very special cars, just randomly out of the top of my head that I find interesting. And one of these very expensive cars nowadays is the Mercedes-Benz 190. The Evo, the 2.5, he had them as a 2.3 16 valve Evo. The engine was produced in collaboration with Cosworth. The 190 was the first baby Benz. It ran from 82 until 92, 93-ish. And then after that, the C-Class was introduced as like an entry-level Mercedes-Benz. But we have like 96 190s for sale here in the Netherlands, so almost 100. And the most expensive ones are the Evos. Let's start with this one from 91. So this is a late production year. I think 92, 93 is when these cars, the production stopped. And let's go into this one. And you see this is almost as expensive as the Evo. As the Skyline, sorry. So 450k in euros, and they say this is beleggingsobject. In Dutch, that means like this is an investment. So they expect cars like this to go up in price even further. It's 450k right now. When it came out, I'm not sure what it cost. It was expensive, definitely, but not this expensive. And this is basically the top of the line of the 190. We'll go into performance figures later, but this was basically Mercedes' answer to the BMW E30 M3. As you know, I like Mercedes, especially from the 80s and the 90s, and this is... Yeah, I think this spoiler is a bit vulgar, but for the rest, the styling it's so 80s, it's so top-notch, it's so over the top that I find it fascinating and funny. Look at it. It's excellent condition, museum piece. It has the automatic transmission, probably a 5 or 6 speed, I think a 6 speed already. This was expensive back in the day, and this was fully loaded, and this was when you really had money and you needed a pocket rocket, then this was the one. But these cars are also extremely well built. The 190 is over-engineered to the point of ridiculousness. It is crazy. It is a Mercedes-Benz engine, but it was tuned by Cosworth. I think Mercedes-Benz also, when they started AMG, use some of the engineering expertise and the main technical people from Cosworth to start AMG. AMG is from 73-ish, I think, or something like that. So it's been a while. I think it's a 4-cylinder even, but we'll go into the performance figures later. See, this is a special edition. Only 500 pieces were built of this. It's a 5-speed. This makes it even more special. 91, guys. It's a long time ago, and this was very expensive. Okay, special exhaust on it. 190E. E standing for injection, which was for the time not common yet. 16 valve engine, battery, oil temperature. This was really geared towards driving it fast and enthusiastically. So it has a 4-cylinder? Yes, we were right. 2.5 4-cylinder, producing 235 horses, which was a lot for 91. This was a lot coming from a 4-cylinder. Nowadays we put out 400 horses. So we doubled that at least. And it weighed 1,340 kilos, which is not super heavy. Road tax on this car is €120 a year. It's not a lot. It's not an official. It's not 40 years old yet, but when it is, then you don't need to pay road tax anymore. But it's absolutely crazy how expensive a car like this is. But this, if it was bought, let's say in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, they weren't that expensive no more. But nowadays, a lot of people get nostalgic because of electric cars, and we don't know what the future holds. And cars like this are not being produced no more, not being designed no more, not being engineered anymore. But it's kind of crazy that they extracted so many horses from a four-cylinder. So this is the most expensive one in the Netherlands. A little bit cheaper, we go for this one. But this one is Evo tuned, Evo II. This one as well. What is the difference between them? 1991. Same engine, it looks like, but without a sunroof. First owner. Yeah, 400,000 euros. Ridiculous. Really ridiculous. I mean, again, if you bought these cars the late 90s, early 2000s, they were never really cheap, but this is ridiculous. 400,000. It's crazy. It's crazy. For baby Benz. But again, these cars are extremely well built and they're limited edition. So, when you do have the money, you like cars, and this is part of automotive history. There's no doubt about it. The same as a E30 M3. Yeah. These cars were competing. This is actually one of the cars that Ayrton Senna, one of the race drivers that crashed in '94 and died, unfortunately, was testing cars like this. And by this time, this car was already on the public roads. Not many, but the 190 was, because that car was in production since the early 80s. And that was really Mercedes' answer for, the entry-level cars, but then still making sure that Mercedes was more reachable for, millions and millions of people. And the 190 was a big success. It was. And the 190 was the continuation. Later in '93, they introduced the W202, which was the first C-Class, and that car is still dirt cheap. I mean, if you go for AMG model, then they might be more expensive, but they are not as expensive as this one. We might cover the W202 in another video. Crazy. 400,000. That's crazy. That's just crazy. But if you're really, really rich, why not? You buy this, you put this in your garage, it's a Sunday car, and who knows, in 5 to 10 years, it might be even 500,000 or 600,000, because, these cars have been produced so long time ago, and they're limited, and they are one of the best cars ever. The 190 and the W124 E-Class, they are among the best cars ever to be built. And almost with 100% confidence, I can say that cars like this will never be built no more. Not with this level and attention to detail. Not at all. Because it's just a statement for a manufacturer like Mercedes. They're like, look, we can build a car that is just good. And it still drives on the roads today. You don't see them that often no more, but once in a while, you see a 190 still pop up and the owner still driving it. And sometimes they drive it for a couple of years. They imported it from Germany. Sometimes they bought it original in the 90s and they still drive around. And there's just no way with the proper maintenance, these cars can go forever, basically forever. They're so over-engineered just to make a statement to the rest of the world that they built the best cars. Back then, they had that attitude, they had that mindset. They didn't really look at the cost. It was just a statement to see, we are in charge, we are the number one, and you can't come close to us. Nowadays, everything is cost related, and I also get that, but this was a different era, and that's why I like it. When you really like cars, when you really enjoy them, then the 80s and the 90s, the early 90s were something else, definitely. This car is absolute mint condition, that's why they are so expensive. We are gonna go down a little bit and see what else they got. 61. You see, it's also expensive. I have this car as a model car, basically. Yeah, Mercedes-Benz were on a run. They are. I mean, this is. I remember Chris Harris driving one of these. It's one of the first SLs, I believe. Yeah, I like it. It's expensive, definitely, but it's in mint condition. I'm amazed that this is all for sale. So this is a concours start. Let's we go a little bit down. Luckily, we got plenty to choose from. This is a 2.6. Drove one in early 2020. They asked 10K for it, but it wasn't in very great condition. The 2.66 in line with 163 or 61 horsepower, so also not a whole lot, but engines built to last. And this is in great condition. I mean, I don't know if you should pay that much for it, but it looks all right. I don't know what. This is also a 91. Yeah, 36,000 kilometers. I mean, yeah, I think it's been. I think it has been bought many years ago. Maybe it was even a Corona project. Who knows? And people rebuild it, and now they sell it for 4, 5, 6 times the amount that what they bought it for. At the end of the day, it's still an old car, but it's a piece of history that you can still daily drive if you have to, if you want to. Nothing wrong with it. It looks fantastic. It could have been somebody's project. Who knows? Parts are still available to this day. It might get a little bit more difficult over time, but I think Mercedes is when it comes to availability of parts, look at the seats. I mean, it's brand new. And yeah, I mean, see 160 horsepower from a 6 inline. 91, was it imported? I cannot see that. It looks all right. Yeah, it's a lot of money. I mean, not to brag, I could buy it, but are you gonna really daily drive it? Are you gonna daily drive a car like this? It's more of a Sunday car, and this is a car to really enjoy it. I remember driving the 2.6 more than 4 years ago, and it was a typical old Benz. It's it's built to last. You feel that way as well. Yeah, complicated. It's not a driver's car. It's more of a monument on wheels, and you enjoy it, and you can drive it for hours, and it will not really break down. It will not do that. Just from the aesthetic point of view, the aesthetics, I can really appreciate it, but that's my personal preference. Is it worth this much? No. It has to do with nostalgia. I mean, these cars maybe 15K, 12, 15K would be a reasonable price. Still a lot for an old car, but taking into consideration that these cars are really bulletproof, 15K, I would buy one, definitely. If I have to choose between this and a Skyline for the same amount of money, I would have to drive them both. And I think from drivability and fun, it will be a Skyline, but pure based on aesthetics, 85 is the year that I was born. 20K. This has done more than 200,000 kilometers. 93. This is basically the last year that they produced them. So when it really goes to, I mean, you can see they're a little bit more modern. The 1.8, let's see what they have in terms of horsepower. 200,000. Yeah, they have this Sakkelbretter, this one here. That's how it's called. Sacco is the designer of the Mercedes. Bretter. I don't know exactly what it is in German, but this plastic here. The typical rims from the 90s. I mean, they had it on the E-Class as well. Beautiful, beautiful car. I don't know if it's black or brown or dark red, but it's a beautiful color, I must say. What kind of tires they have on it? Michelin, probably. The 190 1.8, and this is probably still quite fuel efficient. Not sure what the power output is, but I think it's just above 100 horsepower, to be honest. But look at this. I mean, this is brand new. They probably bought it new, and now they're gonna sell it. Sportline. Yeah, look, this is what you want. This has probably been a project car, and now they sell it for much more than what they bought it for. But I think a lot of hours and research been put in this car, and yeah, look, this has the early 90s steering wheel. That's actually the way you want it. This looks a little bit scruffy. Yeah, this is actually ABS module. Nice. You see, just at that above 100 horsepower from a 4-cylinder. It's an automatic 5-speed. Yeah, guys, early 93. And this is probably a Dutch car as well. It doesn't say it's imported, but who knows? 93. Yeah. So you still have quite some years to wait until it's an old-timer. But if you don't drive that much every week, and you just park it somewhere where they can't scratch it, a lot of people wouldn't look twice at a car like this. They don't see the value in it. They just see an old Mercedes. But you can see what they still ask for. It's reasonable in my book, and that's also because I'm nostalgic, because I think 10K would be more appropriate. It's the 1.8, it's not the 2.6 or anything special. It's a 4-cylinder. This is probably entry level 1.8. I don't think they had 1.6s or 1.4, not for this 190 series. But it's original Dutch, which makes sure that it's easy for a Dutch buyer to trace back its history. It's not been imported or anything, and with the right set of maintenance guide and service history, then I think it's a reasonable price. Maybe you can make it 15 and you got yourself a nice car. Look at this. I mean, for me, yeah, definitely. That's where it's at. But you see how many you have, even the diesel ones, they still go for 17K. And these are not fun to drive. I mean, they are built to last, yes, but they have maybe 80, 85 horses from a 2-liter diesel, which is very raw and very loud, but built to last. Not sure if you would buy this one, because a car like this, you cannot drive in many cities in the Netherlands no more. They will just kick you out because you have an old diesel. Plus you pay twice the road tax. Now, these cars are not too heavy, but who's gonna do lots of miles in a car from 85 nowadays? So for me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I would buy a 20-year-old E-Class E220 or CDI or something, and then make my miles in that. And as soon as something breaks that's very expensive, then I just kick it to the curb and buy something new. These cars, the 2.5 diesel, I saw videos of this. These are very raw, but they are built to last. They have only one goal, to kick up the miles, to rack up the miles, to keep on working, even at minus 30 degrees, plus 50 degrees. It doesn't matter. The engineers made a masterpiece, especially for the time in the 80s. But yeah, other than that, now in 2024, these cars are, yeah, you can feel the age. Let me put it like this. So here you have it. You see a lot of diesels still for sale here. Yeah, the 190 was a success now. Ooh, this looks just to close it off. This looks so bad. My God. Yeah. AMG, maybe there's an AMG package for that time. 87. I think AMG was acquired by BMW, by BMW, Mercedes somewhere in the 80s, 90s. I don't know. This is a horrible body kit, and also the big star here, it makes it no, it and the color and the rims. No, if you show up to work like this, you're not gonna get a promotion, right? Anyway, guys, I like doing these. I will continue doing these with special cars, just so you have an idea what's for sale here and what the prices are in the Netherlands. I think, and I hope you enjoy these kind of videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.